looking at the Dolphins and the Bengals, I think that the Bengals, can give the Dolphins a run for their money. I think that Burrow's the better QB. I do think that they have more weapons technically on the Bengals than the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins obviously have the fastest wide receiver tandem with Hill and Waddle. The thing about the Bengals that I think could really go to their favor is that the Dolphins don't really run the football. If I was the Bengals, I would be trying to bank more on the run because the Dolphins haven't really, been able to play defense really all that well. I guess last week, they kind of won off of a fluke because Allen missed a pass. And last week they weren't going to give up a ton of points. But if you look at them against the Ravens, the Ravens were able to, score a ton of points on them, seemingly at will. And that their defense is just, pretty shoddy, to be honest with you, with the Dolphins. And that's why I didn't place them as like a number one, team on my power rankings. But the Bengals, this game is honestly kind of a shot in the air. It is in Cincinnati. So those fans, are probably going to be loud. And any disruption, that you're causing with a team like the Dolphins, will be really good in the passing game. I don't want to give this one to the Bengals, though. I really don't think that they're going to win this game unless they show that they can, really keep Burrow upright, to be honest with you, because he's been getting really banged up because their line is pretty bad. But the thing to me about me with the Bengals is that they were proven to be opportunistic and very, like they were on defense at the end of last year, very scrappy, and they have very good playmakers, to make plays on the ball. Whereas, the Dolphins do too as well. But, let me go and look, I guess, at, the depth chart. We got okay, we'll look at the Dolphins first, I guess. You got Tua, who is, dealing with a back injury as well, which I've never really liked when anybody has a back injury and they are playing. And to me, if Bridgewater plays, that's going to get rid of, a good amount of the accuracy that Tua's, shown that he has, and he's not going to have practiced very much. But it's like I said, the run game with the Dolphins hasn't really been what they've been relying on and that sort of thing. And Waddle, I guess, is questionable. I don't know what he is questionable for, but it's kind of one of those things that to me the defense, like looking at this, the best player on this defense, honestly, is Xavier Howard. And he's easily the best. And then, like I said this earlier in the year, is that their defense just doesn't really have that much star power. And it is hard to do well in today's league on your defense if you do not have stars to make plays. Because it's a very opportunistic style that defenses have to play because of all the penalties that can get called on them. So it's just one of those things to me that's going to possibly hold the Dolphins back unless, something happens. But, when you talk about, Cincinnati, you talk about they have, Joe Mixon is a really good, running back. I guess he's questionable. And, Tay Higgins is questionable. He'll definitely play. But, you got Hayden Hurst, who's a really reliable tight end, along with, Boyd, Higgins, and Chase, who's probably the top, 3 wide receiver tandem in the league, to be honest with you, with a guy who's more than capable to throw to him. But looking at, the defense, it's like they've got, way more of a, capable defense than the Dolphins have. And it's like, Tyreek was talking smack to Eli about Apple. He's like, oh, I really hope we play, so I can smoke him or whatever, some drama already happening with this matchup. And then you got, Von Bell and Jesse Bates, one of the best, safety tandems, and Awuzie, who's not a bad corner. So it's like the coverage, can definitely, be pretty good. Because really all you need to worry about, severely on the Dolphins offense is Waddle and Hill. But otherwise, I mean, the thing about me that's going to be kind of the doom of the Dolphins, and that wasn't planned, is that they really don't have a run game. They're depending so much on Tua to throw so many yards. I think that's another reason why they weren't able to do that much against the Bills, because obviously they showed so much against the Ravens. And I mean, the Bills do have a good defense, but, I think that this could definitely be a closer game than people are expecting. I think a lot of people are going to expect the Dolphins to kind of smoke the Bengals, which could be the case at any point. It's like one of those things where all it takes is a couple of plays with a team like the Dolphins with two Blazers for wide receivers, and you just can give up a lot of yards and touchdowns very quickly with guys like them. But overall, I'm going to take the Dolphins, but I'm only going to take them by 7, with optimism that it's possible that it might be 3 or something. Because the Bengals, I think, at this point are they're at the point in the season where, it's 4 games in. They kind of know what they have to do to, win, or they know their weaknesses and whatever else. But they also know that they're in a division that's weaker. And they're not going to have to win, a ton of games, to make the postseason. And it might be one of those things that maybe they try to, add to their line, or maybe their line gets better, as the season goes on, because I know that they drafted some guys, but to protect Burrow. But yeah, overall, I'm taking the Dolphins by 3 or 7, with optimism that, I mean, the Bengals might be able to keep it close and it might be closer to 3 points. Final prediction.